Quick coffee story for you guys this morning. And I want to tell you about the importance of being nice to people. This is my favorite coffee of all time, and I emailed JBC Roasters to tell them how much I love their coffee. This was voted 2014's 15th best coffee in the world, which they no longer sell anymore. So I was saying I was disappointed, but thanked them for their work. So as a way to thank me for writing that email, I got a really quick reply email that gave me an insider's tip on some really sweet coffee. This is the world's #1 voted coffee from this year, as well as the Good Foods Award winner from JBC. This product sold out in less than an hour, but they gave me a little heads up that I should maybe start checking the website around a certain time, and I got mine. So just remember, like little things in life, like telling somebody, hey, I appreciate the work that you do or the products that you make, they can pay off with people returning the favor. And I wasn't even looking for a favor. So just remember to always thank people for the work they do. They work hard. People take pride in their stuff. So whether it's an email that maybe scores you some coffee, a message on Twitter or Snapchat, thank somebody today. I don't know if this is the world's best coffee or not, but it is damn good and unlike anything I've ever tasted. Boom. So I've been looking at a bunch of different recipes for pork tenderloin, and it seems like there's two schools of thoughts on this, but I'm going to approach cooking this meat tonight like I did our steak. Lots of recipes call for searing the steak first or cooking it at a very high temperature oven and then turning it down, but I think that this is the wrong approach. They call pork the other white meat, but where have you ever seen a recipe that sears chicken before you bake it? So why would we do that here? That's crazy. Science alert! Like we talked about with the steak, a cool protein starts with nice even lines and strands of protein, but under tremendous heat, they freak out and coil up. Because those proteins are denaturing so quickly, it forces water and flavor out of your meat, resulting in that dry, flavorless pork that you've had before. So with a slower cooking process, like here on the bottom, we start with our cold or room temperature proteins, and under slower heat, they just slightly denature, keeping the liquid in the. Still with me? Basically what I'm saying is, like with all meats, if you shock them with high heat very quickly, the proteins freak out, scrunch up, and you lose all your liquid and flavor. For those of you that really enjoyed the seared caramelized flavor on the outside, cook it low and slow first, get it right so you keep all that flavor in there, then sear the outside at the very end. So how about that? Opened up the package and there was 2 tenderloins in there. Did not see that coming. So to start, we're going to season with salt and pepper on all sides, and we're going to let this sit out for about 30 to 45 minutes. See you then. It's been a little over a half an hour, and you can see a lot of moisture has been pulled out by the salt, concentrating the flavor. So we're going to pat that dry and then finish with seasoning. You wouldn't want to leave this for much longer than 30 or 45 minutes with the salt, because again, we're trying to keep this meat moist and juicy. We don't want to dry out the meat more than we have to. Because I tend to go on the conservative side with flavorings because I like to use it for multiple things with leftovers, I'm only going to use a little red pepper, black pepper, and garlic powder. If you wanted to get a little more creative, you could use thyme, sage, oregano. You even could use cinnamon and nutmeg and pair it with some baked apples, and then marinades, teriyakis. One thing I debated was, do I trim the fat or leave it? And because I'm not hosting company, I decided to leave it. Sorry, Snapchat, but I'm not putting on airs for you. And because we know it's there, we can eat around it. And I think that that fat is going to help lock in more of the flavor. We know water and fat don't mix. Water cannot pass through the fat, so basically we've created a moisture barrier around the outside. Can't hurt. Oven is preheated to 350. Pork is on the cookie sheet, fat side up, and now we cover with foil. I'm sure by now you all know why we're covering with foil, to trap in that moisture. In the oven for about 30 to 45. By allowing the meat to rest, we're going from these scrunched up, denatured proteins to more calmed, relaxed ones that will keep the juices inside the meat. I know the meat looks pink, but don't be afraid. It's cooked to 155. I overcooked it even just a touch, so it's definitely safe to eat, and cooking meat till it's white is unnecessary. So as I always say, I am not a chef, but I do have a food science degree, and like all my cooking, I approach it from a scientific kind of point of view, and tonight was no different. While almost every recipe you find online will tell you to cook at 425 or above, tonight we've kind of looked at the science why it makes more sense to cook at 350. So don't be afraid to go against the grain when you find a recipe that you love, but maybe it tells you to cook it a little differently. Cook it at 350 for 30 to 45 minutes and check the temperature.